Well, I'll try and make this one a short one because I know my videos have been getting longer and longer lately. Quite commonly, nearly 20 minutes, and I think that's a bit too long for anyone, including myself, to be expected to sit and listen to me ramble about nothing. So I'll try and make this a bit shorter, particularly because, yeah, it's only been a few hours since I recorded the last one this afternoon, and it's now 8:45. Just had dinner, cooked dinner for the first time in a while with this fagese. How do you say it? It's a local kind of sauce here in Albania, made from like feta cheese and paprika or how you call it, capsicum. So I just use that as a bit of pesto for my pasta with some eggplant, and it was quite good. But I still think it was probably twice as much as I could have paid if I went to a restaurant actually. So it's more of a it's not an economical decision, let's say. Anyway, I'm rambling again. So pretty much immediately after I finished recording that video this afternoon, I was riding down the beach, about to head back to the highway, and I was stopped by a man. He was like whistling at me, and at first I kind of ignored him, but he was very insistently whistling. So I swung back around and I went and chatted to him, and he was very friendly. He put his hand out and he grabbed me, and he was like very curious to know what I was doing, and his English was okay. He was fairly easy to communicate with, and he was saying stuff like, like I like you as a person, like you're living life. You're gonna be when you're 50, you're gonna be 30 still, like all this stuff. Like you're never gonna get old because you're constantly riding and you're being energetic and all this stuff. And I agree with what he said, but I just got like a really kind of weird feeling from him, and I wasn't really sure how to take what he was saying. Um, and anyway, we spoke for a few minutes, and then he was like, "Oh, I really want to talk to you for longer. Can I buy you coffee?" And I actually said, "Well, I just had a coffee. I don't really need another one." But um, I think he chose to ignore that comment, and we ended up getting a coffee anyway. Um, I guess I thought, well, I try to be pretty open to new experiences, and particularly when local people want to have a conversation with you, I try to be pretty open to that, because there's much to learn. And so we went to this restaurant. It was a really nice restaurant on the beach, and we sat down and we had a couple of coffees, and he kept. I don't know. He wasn't really asking me anything in particular. Like I thought he wanted to maybe talk about something specific because he'd asked me to have coffee with him, but he didn't really say anything. He was talking about the weather and how he had been to Italy, and he showed me some pictures from Italy and stuff, and I was like, okay, thanks for sharing. And then I think my weird feelings were kind of confirmed because as he was like swiping through these photos of Italy, then up came a picture of like a naked woman, and then like another picture was a picture of a penis, and then he was like, "Oh, don't worry, this is for work." And I was like, "I'm pretty sure this is not for work. This is just porn on your phone that you've inadvertently shown me." And at that point, I felt quite uncomfortable. I didn't really want to hang around and talk to him for much longer. Um, and I kind of got the impression that he was trying to pick me up, maybe. And that he was like, "Oh, like after a big day of riding, maybe you want a massage." And he was like grabbing my shoulders and stuff, and I just felt quite uncomfortable at this point, and I just kind of laughed it off and said, "Actually, yeah, I think hit the road again. I've got a few more kilometers to do today. And he was very reluctant, but he agreed, and he paid for the coffees, and then he rode with me down the beach a bit until we got to the end, and he said, "Well, I'm going this way, but if you can wait around for a few hours, like I would like to take you out for dinner, and we'll go to a nice Albanian restaurant, and I'll pay for everything." And I just said, no thanks, I gotta go. And he's like, "Oh, can't you just change your plans for, one day? Like, I really want to spend more time with you." And I was like, "No, I'm sorry, I can't." And before this, actually, he made me write down his phone number, and he made me send him a text message so that he would have my number as well. And I was pretty reluctant to do that, but I figured I can always just block his number if I need to. But he was very friendly. He was like, like if you ever need any tips or like advice for things to do in Albania, like you can call me anytime and all this stuff. And I think he was just trying to pick me up, to be honest. And so the whole experience was quite comfortable. First time it's happened in a while where I didn't really feel good about talking to a local person and the way the interaction went, I guess. And it makes me feel a bit empathetic, I guess, for women traveling, because I imagine this kind of thing happens to them quite a lot, and that's a real shame because it's not very fun. It makes you feel quite uncomfortable. So I guess that was something that I learned from the experience. To be more empathetic for my female friends and females in general. And then at that point, like, I was full of the coffee. That was my third coffee of the day, and I really just wanted to get away from this guy as fast as possible. I wasn't sure if he was going to try and follow me or something. So I just like shot down the road, and I was back on the highway for a bit, and I didn't really know where I was going. A couple of hours later, I decided to try and make it to this lake, which I'm at tonight, which is also next to the ocean. So I kind of sped here, and it was probably another 50 or 60k. So I ended up going probably 90k today, even though I didn't really start cycling again until like 3 o'clock after having coffee with this dude. But the way here was all flat, and I must have got a tailwind because at some point I was barely even pedaling on the highway, and I clocked myself going at 44 kilometers an hour, which was pretty speedy for a flat road. So I was pretty stoked with that. I was feeling really good, and it just felt like I could ride forever, really. And I guess that has something to do with all the coffee that I had drunk. And it'll be interesting to see how well I sleep tonight, because it's usually a problem if I drink coffee late in the afternoon. I got to this lake and came to this little campsite, and there was the owner sitting out the front having a couple of beers with some friends, and he didn't really speak much English, but I said, I'm looking for somewhere to camp. Am I at the right place? And he's like, yeah, and he like just gestured, and the whole campsite is empty. He's like, wherever you want. And I said, okay, how much? He said, I don't know, €10. And I said, okay, sure. So I think, maybe the camp is like closing, or maybe it's about to close, because there's absolutely no one else here, which is quite cool because it's a pretty cool spot, and it's in a national park. So I set up my tent, and then I quickly went down to the beach and caught the last of the sunset, which was quite spectacular. And I think I was meant to be here because there was again another bride having photos taken. So that's the second bride I've encountered on this trip. The first was in Switzerland, I think. There's at least two, maybe three. I can't remember the other one, but I take that as a good omen. And and I sat and watched them taking photos while I watched the sunset. I had a beer and had some baklava that I got from the supermarket, which was surprisingly good. And then I wandered. There was a pier, and I wandered across the pier. And at the end of the pier, there was actually a small island with like a restaurant, which I couldn't tell if it was closed or abandoned. There was no one there anyway, and there was some like old like bungalows right on the beach. So I walked all the way to the beach and just watched the waves come like lapping at the shore as the sun finally died away, and it was just a really magic moment. Yeah, it was really awesome being back on the coast again, and it was just me and yeah, saying goodbye to the day and feeling the power of the ocean. It was just a really special moment for me. And it got a little bit emotional actually, but that was the end of that, and I came back in the dark and yeah, had dinner. So that's everything that's happened since 2 o'clock today, and I will end the video here so it's not too long. So bye.